Hey guys, and welcome back. What I want to do is quickly address a couple of the comments that we had on the last video about the chassis. And then I'm going to do a little bit more cutting and a little bit of welding. So let me just take you through this. The back of this chassis, if you focus, is a genuine Regal chassis. And when you measure it across, it is 77.5 centimeters. The exact same as the chassis that I've got. Obviously mine is absolutely rotten. I'll show you that again to remind you now. And then it's joined around here onto a Rialto chassis. And then I don't know if you can see because right, I need to get some light on that in a second. Let me go get a torch. Right, rather than getting a torch, I've tipped the chassis up to get the shadow off it. Now what you can see is all down this side of the chassis, it has been cut and narrowed and welded back in. So you can see that's not a factory weld. You look at the factory weld at this end. I won't focus in. I don't know if you can see that. It's a nice factory weld. And the same down the front. That has been angle grinded off. You can see the galv was off there. It's started to rust. And again, that's not a nice factory weld. They're factory welds, so these haven't been moved. So these clamps are in the original Rialto place, but the chassis is narrowed. And if you look at the top of this, you can see this isn't a factory weld either, so this has been moved. And if you look inside, let's see if I can show you this. I probably can't. I get a bit of sunlight on there. You can see the burn through the weld, whereas all the other welds on the frame are galved over. So this chassis has definitely been narrowed. This is still a track of Rialto, so if I just use this front end, it's not going to sit and it'll be wrong. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these out, these crossbars. I've got some new steel over there, and I'm going to get the front of this chassis to the right width and tack it all back together, and then we'll make sure it's all square. These will be cut off and welded back onto the tube, so we should have all our geometry on this chassis correct. And the other thing that was commented is I could have just used the front end and used the steering box that was on the Rialto. But if I pop this back in here, you can see where the steering box is there. So I've marked it there so you can see. And I will grab the Regal front end. I will just pop that in place there and holding it up. I'll try not to drop it on my toes. You can see how much further up this steering plate is. And on the Regal, you've got the tubs which come up just under this, about there. So there's no way you could use the Rialto front end and the Rialto steering box holder on a Regal body. You have to put this front end in. So that's what I'm going to do. Thanks so much for the comments, guys. It's really good to get that sort of feedback and to work through and double check what I'm doing. So please do keep commenting. Let's put this back over here. And now I'm going to get the angle grinded out. I've set the neighbours for 5 minutes and carry on with this chassis. Not too bad for my first serious bit of welding in about 12 years. Needs a bit of tidying up, but that should be in there nice and solid. Clean that up next. Let's go cut the chassis. The neighbours enjoy the garden, but you can see what they've done here is, if the camera focuses, when they've narrowed it, they've actually just cut it around the seam there and then tapped in a smaller diameter pipe, welded it to the chassis and then spot welded it to that. So there you are. So it's definitely been modified. My plan is I'm going to cut this right back, both sides. I've got a 51mm hole saw and to clean those out and get rid of this old steel. So it's going to be a bit of a pain in the butt job. There you can see that weld in there. And then we've got this nice new CDS to cut and weld into its place. That's all I've got time for today, you guys. It's bank holiday, it's really sunny, so I've got to go and do some family stuff. So what I'll do now, as I said, I'll hole saw these out, put a new strut all the way through. Same down this end. I'll make sure this is squared off because this is 776 wide at this point, and it's 77.6 wide at this point. The chassis kinks in, so I need to square that off, and then I'll square that up, and I'll tack it in place, drop the body shell on, make sure everything is in line, then take it back off and weld it all up. Right, let's go do a bit of unboxing. I've got one box left I haven't opened, and that's from Reliant Spares. Ooh. Vents for the dash. Two of, they're nice. Air scoops. Nice ashtray. Another air scoop. Part of the wiper motors. There we are. I'm guessing that'll just unbend. Okay, you guys, that's it for today. Thank you very much. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and please do share this video, and I'll see you soon. Stay safe. This is just a reminder, guys, of how bad the old chassis was. So there it is. Let me slice my fingers off. It is minging everything in there. Everything's absolutely shot. But what we will make sure we do is any parts that are quite rare, like these, they're really good, is really chop them off, and we'll make sure that they end up being, or possibly if they're good when you take them off, they can go to someone who needs them.